Hola, ¿cómo estás? Welcome, everybody. Is it bienvenido?
Bienvenido.
Bienvenido.
Bienvenidos.
Bienvenidos, everybody. It is the CU Spotlight podcast here at the Bits and Bytes at GAC 2026 at the Cuba Libre. We've got Pure IT, Capstone Strategic, NCUI Sal, DefenseStorm, Connective, and BankSocial. And this podcast being sponsored by BankSocial. I am your host, Jonathan Taylor, JT, with BankSocial. And with me is my illustrious co-host,
Shirley Sin with New Orleans Firemen.
Shirley. Thank you. Hashtag Shirley on the street, y'all. If you're following her on the LinkedIn. And with us is one of the sponsors of the event, gentleman that I've known for a few years, Steve Soukup, DefenseStorm. It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Good to be seen.
Good to be seen. I asked recently, I ran into somebody from your team and I said, "Oh, are you guys going to do the 360 camera again thing? Remember a couple years ago at the Yardbird, you guys did this like insane it was you and I think a few others that
we did it in New Orleans this year at our client conference. We had like a police escort down Bourbon Street for second line parade, they call it.
Okay.
It's the coolest event we've ever done. I couldn't believe the reaction from our customers. They're like, I never thought I'd be walked down Bourbon Street with police not in handcuffs.
Right. It's usually another. It's usually, I thought this is America, right?
It may have happened after the party. I don't know. But yeah.
That's really, really cool. Well, welcome. GAC 2026. My God, how many of these GACs now for you?
I'm a late bloomer.
Okay.
So I'm a recovering banker that's been selling technology into the banking and credit union space for years, and I think this is 4 or 5.
Four or five for you.
Fairly recent for me.
And how's it going so far?
Getting here because of the weather yesterday was a bear, but once I got here, it's been great. It's always like I find events like this simultaneously energizing and exhausing.
Sure. Yes. Same. Hi. I know I went out there and I'm like, I need a drink for medicinal purposes right now. I have a job to do and I need fuel. I need the Popeye spinach to get this thing going.
Yeah.
So for the listeners, just a level set real quick. Maybe they don't know you. I mean, to me, you guys are an industry standard. Your name is everywhere when it comes to trust and safety and security for credit unions. But hum a few bars of DefenseStorm. How are you guys helping credit unions?
Sure. So we're about 12 years into the journey.
Nice.
I would describe us in a headline as managed detection and response that is built for banking. Mm-hmm. And I think banking's okay to say for credit unions and community banks because we deal with both, and banking is what they do.
It is an action word, everybody.
Yep. So what does the built for banking part mean? It goes back to our founding vision about 12 years ago. We were founded by 3 financial institutions that knew that they were unique high-value targets, in part because of the assets that they hold for their members and depositors, and in part for the data that they have about those account holders. And by virtue of the fact that they are so highly regulated and examined. And what we hear from a lot of our folks, what does built for banking mean? It means you don't have to explain to me. I don't have to explain to you, Steve, and your team, why we do things the way we do them. You get it because we're all you deal with, right? And you understand our unique infrastructure, our unique challenges, our unique exam requirements, et cetera. So like if I were to sum all that built for banking up, it's the contextual awareness around the space and what makes what you do and how you do it unique. And so we're about 200 customers into it with some best-in-class retention scores, growing at a decent clip and in it for the long term. And an event like this is energizing because we see a lot of happy customers who introduce us to a lot of their friends who aren't yet happy customers, but they need this.
And it seems like this is all the sponsors here. It's almost like a cool kid club, right? I mean, every one of the organizations.
I haven't been in that club. Thank you.
You're in the club now, my friend. But, I mean, Capstone Strategic, Pure IT, NCUI Sal, BankSocial, DefenseStorm, Connective. There's a lot of collaboration that I see going on between the organizations. Everybody's keeping their ears out for everybody. Yep. Talk a little bit about that experience working with so many other like-minded organizations.
You know, as you described that, JT, I I may take it a slightly different angle.
Okay.
The collaboration, which is really cool from our perspective, is the credit unions with the B words.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is one arena where they want to share, they want to collaborate, they want best practices. It's not like a lending strategy or an account acquisition strategy
Sure.
where I'm trying to protect my IP. We're trying to keep the system safe and sound because a run on one is a run on everybody, and we're all kind of compromised if one of us is. So that's one of my favorite things about that dynamic. Like we talk internally about our community of trust. We exist to build a community of trust so that we can grow and thrive together, and that's us internally, it's us with our customers, it's them with each other, and ultimately it's them with their account holders too. So that's a big piece of the collaboration that we try to enable.
Well, and I would think with that many customers now, I mean, one of your superpowers too is creating that aggregation of communication between everybody, right? To your point, to talk about here are the pain points, here are the issues, here's something that happened at our institution. Everybody else, you guys got to hear this. It's so you can protect against it, right? What are some of the more recent, kind of high-level stories of that sort of thing?
Yeah, a great question. I think back to when I started 9 years ago, and we had about 20 customers, with a very different dynamic than 200. But part of what we do is we ingest data, events about everything that goes on within your credit union. And we compare what we ingest to known threats and unknown threats, patterns, and UEDA and AI comes in at that point. But part of the known threats are there are industry standard feeds out there, right? Like FBI has a feed, InfraGard, right?
Sure.
Department of Homeland Security has a feed. FSISAC, who a lot of the financial institutions subscribe to, have a feed. And we've had our own DefenseStorm curated feed for a long time. And the difference in the value of that feed with 20 versus 200, it's kind of like the old virtuous network effect. The more that are in it, the more valuable it gets. The more valuable it gets, the more that want to be in it. And we're able to identify exploits or indicators of compromise or attack that a lot of horizontal players just wouldn't be familiar with. I'll give you an example. A year or so ago, we picked up some intel around a compromise related to a QSO that ran ATMs for credit unions.
Okay.
And it wasn't massive. Like, we're not talking about one of the brand names, but it was big enough, and we found indications of this compromise within our base. Again, it was a subset of it, but it's the kind of thing that you find when you're just focused on the vertical, that the big brand names they don't know the difference between you and Petco and the supermarket chain down the road.
Sure.
They're not even looking for it, right? And so things like that we start to see and our teams start to see. Another way I often describe it is for the credit unions that have their own information security teams, like those people know your environment really, really well, like the back of their hand. But they're kind of limited to that. Our team has the benefit of knowing that times 200. So they know what's going on in our world and in 200 others that look, smell, and act a lot like you, and that's a lot of the value of that kind of collaboration and network effect that we're talking about.
Such an interesting story with the ATMs, and it makes me wonder because, when it comes to fraud, when it comes to cyber attacks, like we all know that it can be incredibly costly, but you've seen it. And you see how costly it actually can be at the end of the day. I'm curious, in a situation like that, did you guys do an analysis, or were you able to do an estimation of how much you might have saved based on a stop like that?
That's always a hard calculation.
Sure, I bet.
And that's one place where I'm jealous of the folks that are here talking about their loan origination systems or their new account openings, because you can quantify the benefit of one new member pretty easily. It's hard to quantify the benefit of what didn't happen.
Sure.
But we do have cases, you've referenced fraud a few times, where we do have a handle on that. And we know, or our customers know, as an example, hey, every fraudulent account that is opened to ultimately affect money muling or something like that, we're going to lose on average $10,000 for every one of those. And we had an incident with a community bank on the East Coast where we identified a pattern. We found a bunch of anomalies, And in one morning, we stopped 86 accounts from being open at $860,000. Like, that's a pretty good day's work.
It's a very good day's work.
Suddenly you realize maybe we're not charging enough for that. That's a whole nother story.
Now, could you do like a 5% of the money saved?
Right.
No, that's wonderful.
Okay. You have to ask about AI. Within the realm of what you're working in, what kind of things are you seeing in terms of threats and so forth with AI? Just general AI.
It's crazy. I'll go on two themes. One is, I'm sure wherever you work, you've all been kind of trained with, security awareness trainings, right? Mm-hmm. You go through a few of those, it gets pretty easy to spot the bad spoof, right? Like there's enough typos, funky fonts,
right,
weird branding, etc. And AI bots out there surfing for brand guidelines that a lot of people still publish, and the quality of what comes at you is pretty outstanding. Right. So that's just one basic piece. The really interesting dynamic that we found is in the cyberspace, there's this concept of dwell time, right? Which is the difference between the time you're compromised and the time the threat actor actually does something about it. And when I started in this space eons ago, 9 years ago, we quoted dwell time. It was about 174 days, I think. And the idea was, hey, threat actor gets in through some weak link, and they explore their way around and find as many vulnerabilities and gaps as they can, because they wanted to make sure when they took action and, they're kind of outed, for lack of a better term, payload was viable and made sense. They're so good now, so sophisticated now, so quick now, so aided by AI now, that those dwell times are down in some cases to hours.
Wow.
And when the threat actors are using a tool like AI, you better be using a tool like AI, or your partner better be using a tool like AI, because like that pace of compromise and that pace of what happens after the compromise impact, I guess I would say, is so rapid that like otherwise you're in a street fight with two hands tied behind your back, hoping that you can take the punch, and you just can't, right? So you have to be able to process quickly, decision quickly. Our CISO likes to talk about, hey, we used to look at, like, our average client ingests through our platform about 100 million events a day. What's an event, right? It's your login to your Windows machine, it's logging into Outlook, whatever, right? 100 million. So we used to pool those 100 million events, and you'd kind of look at a collection of data and try to find these trends and anomalies. Things are happening so fast, you can't look at a collection of events. You have to look at event by event by event.
Sure.
100 million in a day is tough enough. Like, you've got to look at them when dwell times are down to hours. You've got to look at them constantly to be able to make these decisions. And AI is really good at doing the analysis that leads to those decisions.
Sure.
Right? And sometimes a qualified cyber professional is going to have to get involved, but if you're not fighting the fight with the same weapons, you're out of luck.
Well, it's almost like the AI really should be that initial flag indicator for then a human to have to take a peek, And I used to say this about data. Data is the force, and there's the good side of the force and there's the bad side of the force. Okay. One thing is for sure, the only thing that is going to beat the bad side of the force is the good side of the force, okay? You can't be neutral in the middle. I think now AI is the force. And so we need the light side of the force to fight the dark side of the force. You agree with that?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Steve, this has been great, man. And I could do this, what you do is so fascinating. Love to do a longer one with you at some point. If this resonated with one of the listeners and they want to learn more, where would they go?
Easiest place to go would be DefenseStorm.com.
Perfect.
Contact us, request a demo, etc. One of our folks will be glad to respond really, really quickly.
I love it. Steve, you're a good egg, man. I appreciate
Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley Sen, as always, for being with me here. CU Spotlight. Shout out to BankSocial QSO for the support and for sponsoring this, and also to all the other sponsors of this incredible event. One of my favorites every single year at JAC, Capstone Strategic, Pure IT, NCUI SAO, again, BankSocial, Defense DefenseStorm, and Connective. Folks, we all suffer from the same thing in this movement, which is a crisis of awareness. So spread the word. Let's crowd share this thing. Let's get the word out. Let's help some members and some credit unions grow. And with that, we will see you on the flip side.